Pimping at the gym. What does a pimp do at the gym? Is he there to lift something? Is he there to knock something? Or both? Well, we gonna break that thing down right now. Let's go.
But you want all this pimping you can't afford. Perform like a punk but wanna win his reward. Some suckers give you points but bitch you never scored. If you ain't paying pimping then bitch you getting ignored.
Okay.
I'm so sick of these.
Well, contrary to popular belief, a pimp doesn't just holler at anybody and everybody, because a pimp doesn't want just anybody and everybody. And not only that, but a pimp doesn't move on every piece of action that he gets, because it has to make sense to that particular pimp, and every piece of action that a pimp get don't always make sense. So at the gym, me personally, I go to the gym to work out, first and foremost. Secondly, wherever I go, I'm posing to be chosen. So the moment I step outside, technically I'm campaigning. But in certain settings, I might be more proactive than others. At the gym, again, I'm primarily there to work out. So I'm not actively pursuing anybody at the gym. See, a lot of people have a misconception about pimps, that wherever pimps go and they see ladies, they just hounding the ladies, and pimps moving in a thirsty fashion, and trying to have any and everybody and holla 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 holla. Furthest thing from the truth. Especially high caliber pimps. Now, of course, you have all different flavors of individuals that consider themselves pimps, but real pimps who conduct themselves with class and are reserved, ain't just hollering at anything and everything. So when I go to the gym, I go to work out, I pose to be chose. Again, I don't move on every piece of action that I may have, and there have been instances in the gym where I've had certain types of action, but I realize that it's not my type of action that I want, so I pass on it. And for the record, I have never knocked anything at the gym, right? And it could be because I'm not eager to get in anybody's pants. That's another misconception that a lot of people have about pimps. Some people think that pimps want to get in everybody's pants. Some people think that pimps don't touch their 304s. That's another thing that's the furthest from the truth. But me, I'm not eager to get in everybody's pants. I'm not a COCK hound, right? So, and a lot of square guys that I know that go to the gym, they seem to get a lot of box at the gym. I've never gotten any box at the gym or from the gym, but a lot of square dudes, typically do that. From my experience, from conversations that I've had with a lot of square dudes, they get a lot of action at the gym, right? That leads from gym action to the bedroom action, right? So for one reason or another, I know a lot of young ladies are there to choose. And, like I said, me, I just pose to be chose. Now, even though I've never been chose at the gym, I pose to be chose. So it's possible for me to be chosen at the gym. It is just yet to happen, right? And a big part of the reason could be because I've often been told that, I appear to be unapproachable, even though once you approach me and have a conversation with me, you'll find that that's the furthest thing from the truth as well. Freeze is very approachable. Those of you who know me from YouTube, when you see me, you approach me, you speak, I'm more than approachable, right? I'm not a standoffish type of person. I'm not I'm just not that kind of person, right? But according to a lot of ladies, I have like I guess an intimidating aura about myself. You know, a lot of people think I'm very serious, and you know, I get that. I do come off very serious at times. You know, I do like to have fun. I do like to talk shit, and everybody knows that I do like to roast, you know, occasionally every here and now. But I guess a lot of young ladies at the gym, you know, who might see me and find me attractive and find me to be their type, you know, probably, you know, wouldn't want to approach me because I look unapproachable. But it's a trip though, because you know how it is when you be with your partners and, you know, you see action that your partner is getting more than he sees it. Or your partner, he might see action for you more than you see it, right? So with that being the case, whenever I'm at the gym and I work out with somebody, I go to the gym with somebody, they tend to notice action that I'm getting more than me, right? They'll always point out like, Freeze, man, she was checking you out, or Freeze, man, oh girl, she on you. Me, you know, like I said, I go there primarily to work out. Now, if a chick is just obvious, then of course I'm gonna notice it. And I do notice it from time to time. But when I go there, I just be in the zone. I'm there to work out. And you gotta understand, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't get high. You know, I don't do any of those sort of things that a lot of people do. So the gym is my release. The gym is my high, so to speak, right? You might go to a regular bar. I go to the pull-up bar, the curl bar, you know, and the bench press bar, and so on and so forth, right? Those are the kind of bars that I'm interested in. You know, some of y'all interested in the type of other bars that you pop and put in your mouth. Me, I'm not with none of that. You know, the only kind of bars that I'm into is iron bars at the gym. You dig? So with that being said, again, that's my, you know, way of getting high, so to speak, right? You know, it's therapeutic. It calms my nerves. If ever I got a lot on my mind, you know, I'm not really a stressful type of person. I don't really stress much. But in the event that I ever was stressed, I could go to the gym, get it in, and be all right, right? And, you know, there are times, too, where I might go with a young lady or young ladies to the gym, you know, that will accompany me to the gym. But as far as campaigning, like I said, you know, I pose to be chose wherever I go, but I'm not proactively getting at chicks, right? And, you know, apparently, again, that seems like more of a square guy type of thing to do, because a lot of these square dudes, again, who I talk to, and they always talking about all these different chicks that they done bagged at the gym, I'm pretty sure that they're pursuing them. Even though you got some chicks that's bold like that, and they will approach a guy and not give a damn, but I'm pretty sure most of these dudes are the ones doing the approaching. But me, I don't do no approaching in the gym, right? But I will say though, although I don't go to the gym to pimp per se, and I don't go to the gym to campaign and approach young ladies, the women that are at the gym are really a pimp's type. There's a lot of good things to be said about ladies who go to the gym on a consistent basis. You know they responsible, you know they have consistency, you know they taking care of themselves, you know they love themselves. 9 times out of 10, their self-esteem is in a good place. So, you know, and the list goes on and on. So there's a lot of good things that can be said about a woman that goes to the gym consistently, right? So, you know, if there is a type that a pimp would be interested in, it would definitely be the type that goes to the gym consistently like I go to the gym, right? Just had to put that out there, you dig? But let that marinate on your mind one time. Freezes it. Put some of this good old love in your body like so. And of course, as always, long live the incomparable Sinful to P. We out. Dig this. I've been stroking relentless to get waves like this. I spoke into existence for her to pay like this. In the trenches on a day like this, traffic consistent, and so I have to insist that she relay my chips. It's a trap with her name on it and my game on it. Any forces coming against this game, shame on it. Standing on my pimpin' from day one and remain on it. It carried me through every terrain and I gained on it. Experience joy and pain on it, sustained on it.
But getting back to this game that I never left.
Baby, yeah,